What's up, people? Welcome back to another episode of Stars and Garters. I'm Katie Pettit. I hope you guys had a good Easter. Yesterday. Hope you guys had a good time and went to church and did all that good stuff. Fun fact, you guys. Today is, I'm trying to see the official name of it. It's Nickelodeon Anniversary Celebration Day. Not nearly as important as Easter, and not technically like a real holiday. It's just a fun little thing. So if you're a Nick fan, go do Nick things. I personally am wearing the Ninja Turtles hat and the Danny Phantom shirt. I've been watching some Danny Phantom today. It's a good time. It's a lot of good Nick stuff, so go watch your favorite thing. Have a good time. It's a good time. But yeah, we are here to talk about Marvel, and since it is the most recent Marvel thing, and I did the first 2 episodes, thought I'd just go ahead and give my thoughts on episode 3, because we have been watching them as a family, and we did watch it on the day when it came out, not at the exact time, but we did watch it the day of, and yeah, just gonna give my thoughts, I guess. Sorry, I'm chewing gum, and I feel like it might sound really bad. I'm gonna try to, not actually chew it into the mic. Probably sound nasty. So basically, the episode is called Fire Made Flesh, which is a classic Phoenix kind of deal. That's Jean Grey's thing that she gets possessed by and it makes her evil. It's like a really powerful thing that possesses people. And it calls itself Fire Made Flesh, and so that's what this is named after, which is interesting because there was not really, it didn't really, I mean, I think there was like a mention. Yeah, there was a mention of Phoenix, but the story was not about Phoenix really at all. But it picks up where the last episode left off, with the 2 Jeans, the one Jean, coming, being all bruised and beat up and whatnot, and saying she needed the X-Men, and basically we find out that the Jean in the first 2 episodes has been a clone for a pretty long period of time. They didn't really specify how long, but long. And that the Jean that has been in the first 2 episodes is revealed to be a clone created by Mr. Sinister, who's a big deal. He's a pretty intriguing villain. He does some crazy stuff in the comics. And yeah, he just tries to, kill him with her, basically. And he kidnaps Nathan, and stuff happens there. So, yeah, it's an interesting story. They're really being interesting. Honestly, that's the best word I can come up with for what they're doing with the story, because I'm not upset with it at all, but it's slightly disjointed. I mean, it's obviously connected because you follow up with the thing, but it's it's definitely not clear what the overarching story for this thing is gonna be. No, I'm not gonna say it seems episodic, because they're connected, and each episode has a thing and it matters and stuff, but it's you just can't really tell, where exactly the story's gonna go, which makes it cool. And in some ways, you just get to find out. You get to see what villains and characters and storylines they bring in, and I'm so excited because I will say, as I get into the actual review part, I still don't think they screwed it up. I mean, it was different. I definitely didn't like this one as much as the first 2, but I still liked it. It was just some stuff that, I was personally kind of oh, okay. Alrighty then. But I still don't think they've screwed it up. It's very X-Men. It's, everyone's good. It's an X-Men villain. It's an X-Men story. And there's no nasty or unnecessary woke agenda, whatever. So, As long as they cannot screw that up, I'll be pretty pleased with that. Okay, so my thoughts. The first thing I noticed was as soon as we found out that the Jean was a clone, I was like, Madeline Pryor. I don't know that much about her at all, but I knew there was a clone, and I knew her name was Madeline Pryor, and I knew it was some crazy. Sorry, the camera just shook. It was some like crazy stuff going on with her. So I was like, as soon as I heard that, I was like, Madeline Pryor, it's about to get weird. And she doesn't say her name is Madeline Pryor until the end, but I knew it. Just want to point it out. I knew it from the very beginning. Madeline Pryor. And I didn't really know the connection with Mr. Sinister, but I don't think, he's definitely gonna be a new thing for non-comic book people. I mean, I don't know if he was done in the other series, but I feel like it's probably a little too dark for the other series. Like, I don't think the other series really went too far with some stuff, and Mr. Sinister is a pretty dark dude, and he does some crazy messed up stuff. So yeah, I don't think they went into that, and he's gonna be a bit off the beaten path for people who are not familiar with the comics, but he's interesting, and you get some really interesting storylines out of that guy. So yeah, I'm not gonna say I was like excited to see him there, but I was like, that's actually like, that feels pretty deep, with the lore. Like, it's like I just wouldn't have expected to pull that out, like that storyline or Madeline Pryor. I mean, it's a big part of X-Men like history in the comics, but I just didn't expect them to go that direction. I thought they would pick something more straightforward. This is X-Men. This is, Sentinels or whatever. They brought out Madeline Pryor and Mr. Sinister. So that was pretty interesting. I like that a lot, though. I don't like, it's not that I particularly like the characters. It's just the fact they pulled these characters out. I thought that was really cool and interesting, and they did it well. Like, I will say for this episode, the character stuff was the strongest, like, aspect of it. Everything was still good. Like, everything I liked from the first two episodes basically carried, but, like, the characters were just really well defined here. Like, you just get to see, because especially in the sequence where Sinister kind of is making them see visions, you get to see stuff about them that, like, they're not, like deep stuff about their fears or whatever. And that was really cool. Every character kind of gets their own little moment where you find stuff out about them, like, and Wolverine and Jean get a little moment, the real Jean, and that's sweet and sad. I was like, it's weird that you chose to do this, because this is depressing, and I would be too scared to ever make them talk because of how sad and kind of awkward their whole thing is. But yeah, I got to see that. And then Scott, Cyclops, he's such a I don't know the word. He's one of my dad's favorites. I'm warming up to him quite a bit too. He's such a like distinct character. He has a very recognizable personality, and like he's like a genuinely good guy. Like, he like fights and does all that stuff to help mutants, but he's like just genuinely a nice dude. Like, he felt so bad when he like zapped Madeline and she bled, and he felt so bad. Like, everyone felt bad, but he was like genuinely upset about that. And I was like, that is very Scott. Like, that he's just such a nice guy. Like, he's just a solid dude. And he's not even like, I mean, sometimes, or especially in like when he was younger, I bet he could end up being like kind of a Boy Scout, which is not necessarily bad. It's just this is a mature Scott, and he's still just like he's just a nice guy. Like he's just a sweet dude, and it's that's a very obvious thing about him. He's a good guy, you know. Um, yeah, there was that, and then the two Jeans story was really interesting. Them having to work out their whole thing, and like it was kind of weird because I wasn't really sure where they were trying to tell us, or if they were trying to tell us where the real Jean ended and Madeline took over. But that story, like they did those two characters really well. They went into their brains and like what they had been through and stuff. And that was really cool to see. And you got to know a little bit more about like Jean's backstory, I guess. Oh yeah, because the little girl died and her powers did something. I don't know her backstory, but there was something about that mentioned. And you got to see that. And then of course everyone else is still a good character, but they all got some little moments. Spunspot, SpongeBob, Sunspot is back. Still not Sunspot. Oh my goodness, Sunspot. He's still not like referred to as Sunspot or like being a superhero or anything, but he came back from the first episode, which was cool. I don't know why he came back. He was not explained at all, but you know, good to see him back. Maybe he'll mean something eventually. Interested to see where they take him because he seems like a interesting addition. He's not like anybody else in the group except for Jubilee, but because they're all like old now. I mean, they were I don't know, but he's like a young dude and he acts like it. So, you know, be cool to throw him in and mix up the group. But I don't know. We'll see what they do with that. I do wish he could get like said words. I mean, I know he said some words, but like, I just want to see more about him. But he's back, and his fear was something. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it was, because that's kind of leading into the next part. Yeah, it was like there were some pretty like horror aspects to this episode. It got real dark for a second. Like it was Sinister's visions, and he went creepy, you know. Like Gambit saw Rogue and Magneto, and that's totally valid. Like Gambit should be worried about that. What are those two doing together? He is so old, and I don't know how old she is. She might be old too, but like still. And Gambit is just better. He's just a better character and person, probably. I mean, he's not the best morally, but he's a great character. And so Gambit's vision was like Rogue and Magneto melting on melting into each other. That sounds disgusting. I didn't like that sentence at all. But that's what was happening. I'm telling you, it was pretty sick some of the time. And then like I don't know what Morph saw, but then like we had Sunspot's thing where it was like this face like gooped out of the TV, and then it grew like some spider legs, and then another face gooped out of that face, and it was saying something to him maybe, but I don't know what was happening. It was really weird. I was so creeped out. I was confused as well. Like Sinister is just a creepy, stinky dude. Like, and then you had him like kidnapping Nathan and giving him a virus. That was super dark. Like, I mean, I know it happens. I know Cable's thing, but still, it's dark. Like, it was a lot of darkness, and that happens in Mr. Sinister stories. That happens. Like he shows up in some X-23 stories, and those are usually like the darkest ones. But yeah, I don't I was just kind of freaked out. I don't know if it might have been like an okay freak out and not like, I hate this so much freak out. It was just kind of like, okay, so that is what's happening now. Alrighty. And then it ends with, so Sinister kidnapped baby Nathan and took him and put him in a tube with liquids, which that was really scary too. I was like, what? I was like, don't do that to the child. That's so terrible. But he gets infected with like a techno-organic virus, and there's no cure for it in the present, but they know, or they ask Bishop or something. They find out that there would be a cure for it in the future, so they have to have Bishop take Nathan to the future, and it's really sad because Scott has a really, really hard time with it, and he doesn't want to be any part of it because his dad abandoned him, and he feels like he's abandoning his son now, and he goes through a whole deal, and it's super sad, and I didn't like it. I mean, I liked it as a part of the story, but it was sad, and I was sad. And then, yeah, Bishop takes him to the future, and, you know, I knew it was gonna happen. I knew it had to happen. I didn't know how it happened. I just knew he's born to Scott and some form of gene, and then he goes to the future and becomes Cable. I knew that much. I just didn't know it was like he was a baby. I don't know if they're even pulling this from the comics, but if they are, I didn't know it was like he's a baby and they had to take him away because that was sad times. But yeah, he's gonna be Cable now, so we'll see if he comes back this season or if he ever, comes back. I don't know, but he's going there to be Cable. I do know that. Nathan Summers is Cable, so we'll see where that goes. I hope he comes up again in the series. I mean, I feel like they should at least tease it for season 2 or something. You can't drop something like that. I mean, they're probably smart enough to not drop the entire Cable thing. I'm just saying. I get nervous because sometimes they are that stupid. Sometimes, like, they have been that stupid before with stuff. So, again, it's like the overall feeling from this episode is like the same as the last one, with a little bit of discomfort from the Sinister scenes. But it's like, okay, you've got it. It's working here. Please don't screw this up. Just please don't screw it up. We want to enjoy it. We want to enjoy it all the way through. Don't do anything weird. Don't do anything woke. Just go with the story that you've got. Like, just keep doing it. Please don't do anything crazy. I mean, like, the Sinister stuff was crazy, but I mean, like, just don't screw it up. That's all I'm trying to say. Don't screw it up. That's, like, my overall opinion. I'm like, you have not screwed it up. This is X-Men. These are X-Men characters. It's an X-Men story. Please don't screw it up. Okay. That's probably going to be it for this episode. Shorter one because it's just one episode. Just some quick thoughts. But yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in, and I share this podcast with your friends in this episode and also all the other episodes, and also go watch do that, and then comment or answer. I will ask your thoughts on this one, or no, I'll just ask what your thoughts on this one were, because none of you answer anyway, so I'll just say that. And then we'll say, what is the other thing? I know there's something else. Did I say follow? If I didn't say follow, make sure to follow or subscribe, depending on where you're listening. I don't know if you can subscribe to stuff on YouTube Music, but if you can, do. And if you can't, go to YouTube and subscribe, because I don't know. Just do whatever, but hopefully involving following me. So, yeah. Okay. That's gonna be it. I will see you guys tomorrow, maybe, if I have the time. Peace.